All right, everybody. Welcome back to the Pacific War Channel, where we cover the entire Pacific War from 1937 all the way up to 1945. And I'm joined here today by my guest, it's Dave Holland from Walking the Battlefield, Guadalcanal. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good, Craig. Thanks again for having me on. So it's a pleasure and honor, and I'm doing well today in freezing Australia, which a lot of people don't realize, and we were discussing beforehand in Canberra.
Yeah.
Seasons are reversed, so it's freezing in August.
Topsy-turvy. Canadian over here is in the biggest heat wave we've seen in a long time, and you're freezing over there in Australia.
Crazy world.
And I think this is pretty much one of the most interesting episodes that'll be done in the Pacific War. I don't think I've seen anybody on YouTube cover all the Medal of Honors, especially for Guadalcanal.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've been doing a lot of research involving the Medal of Honors on Guadalcanal for a long time, and I'm just waiting to put some product out. It took me, as you know, I think we previously discussed, I lived in Guadalcanal for 2 years straight, and then total for 3 years on small trips then and there. And one of my goals was to locate every land Medal of Honor site. It's a bit difficult locating the sea and air ones. There was a number of Medal of Honors earned on Guadalcanal. Though officially there's 22.
Yeah.
And during my course of travels and walking and a lot of research, lots of research, I've located every one of the land Medal of Honor sites. So I thought I would love to share this experience and information that I gathered.
And then our next would be Munro.
Yeah, so that brings us up to the 27th of September, and I've just gave you a bit of a prelude to that battle. It's like Matanicao. So Douglas Munro was a Cotsman. I think he was a petty officer. Let me get this right. I'll probably get this wrong. Petty officer, first class. He was a petty officer, and he was in charge of the landing craft. So at the time, the Marines had the plan. Like I said, they were going to hold the Japanese in a fight attack at the mouth of Matanicao. They were going to flank them with the Raiders to come up behind them, and then elements of the 1st Battalion, 7th Marines, which are basically 2.5 companies, under the famous Marine Louis Chesty Puller. That was his battalion. But Puller at that stage was on the other side of the bank with Edson. Edson's first regimental fight. So that was the plan. And they had a boat basin, which is at Kukum. Now, Kukum is near the airfield. Kukum was a pre-war village. And that was when the Japanese in June and July, when they were building the airstrip, that was where they first landed, and they had some docks there, and they had some of their buildings and headquarters and a few of their camps there. Some of the good photos of Guadalcanal, especially in the first few days, 7th, 8th, and 9th, it shows the Marines moving through the Japanese camps, and it shows the captured, the Tojo ice factory and all the Japanese buildings and all the famous buildings they captured. A lot of them are at Kukum. Some around the Lunga Lagoon, but they had 2 or 3 construction camp. But the main headquarters around Kukum. But anyway, the Navy and the Coast Guard adopted that as their boat basins for small boats, like their landing craft, like the Higgins boats mainly, and their tank lighters. And I forgot what the normal nomenclature somebody out there would know. It's a landing craft, a tank lighter. It was a larger tank or larger landing craft that can hold a tank or a vehicle or a platoon of Marines. Where Higgins boat would hold probably a squad. Anyway, they had a combination of those. So they transported the first elements of the 1st Battalion, 7th Marines, and they landed them on the west side of Point Cruz. And obviously, when you air this, you'll show the maps and where they landed. Now, I've sent you a few good maps, and then there's they landed there, and Munro was in charge of those landing craft, and they had a destroyer called the USS Monson too, was providing cover for them. So they went there, they landed the Marines, and then they retrograded back to the boat basin. and they're waiting for the senior to come pick the Marines back up later. But the Marines ran into a hornet's nest. So they ran in fresh elements of the 4th Japanese Infantry Regiment, which unnoticed to the Marines. Once again, on both sides of the campaign, the intel let both sides down at times. They underestimated the numbers, especially the Japanese, but the Marines underestimated numbers in this stage. And the Marine veterans, if you read some of the guys from 1-7, the first time submarines, they said when they were moving through that area in the coconut groves, they looked and it was fresh Japanese equipment and tents and set up everywhere. And they said, "What's the Japanese?" So they went up on the first ridge, which is Hill 84. And if you go to Honiari, which is the capital city of Guadalcanal today, it's called Lankiki Ridge. It's right behind where all the tourist hotels are. If you ever go there, visit the tourist hotel, you look out, you see the ocean, you turn around, you see Lankiki Ridge. It's mainly 3 good tourist hotels. You look out, you'll see where this Medal of Honor was earned with Munro and where his fight was happening, which many don't not even aware. And some of these U.S. tour groups that go there don't even let them aware. They say, "Oh, there's not much happened here." I actually heard it myself one time. I was listening to a tour group. I was in a hotel and I heard this is a U.S. tour group, and the tour guide basically says, someone says, "Oh, much happened around here?" He goes, "Oh, not much happened around here." I'm looking out my window. I'm going, "There's 1 Medal of Honor, 3 Medal of Honor just went inside of where I was looking." I go, "Yeah, okay. Yeah, not much happened around here." But anyway, so that was the plan. So Munro's dropped him off. He's moved back to the boat base and waiting for the signal to come back. So what happened was Marines got up on that ridge. They got cut off. The reason they had landed because there was miscommunication at the division command post. At the time all this was occurring, there was a major air raid, and it disrupted communications. And when the raiders sent a radio report back, that division thought that it was across the river, which they wasn't across the river. They said, "Oh, the raiders across the river. Then we'll launch our behind the Japanese amphibious assault." So when they landed, the raiders went behind the river. 2nd Battalion, 5th Marines hadn't pushed across the mouth of Matanicao. So they got up on that ridge. The Japanese came in and trapped them, and there was no way out. So Chesty Puller, which is the battalion commander, was on the other side of Matanicao, was highly irate, as you can imagine, trying to sort something out with Edson at the time. And I think from all the research I've done, it wasn't that Edson says, "No, I can't commit any more forces to rescue him." I think he was saying, "Let's just formulate a better plan." But Puller being Puller, he immediately take action type of guy. He goes, "No, that's my guys. I'm getting them out." So what he did, he basically got into a landing craft, made his way out to the destroyer, which was sitting back at Cookham, jumped on there and says, "My guys are in trouble. Follow me." So Munro sees that and he goes, "Okay, we got to get them out." So he gets his 7 boats, I think, landing craft, following the USS Monson, like ducks in a row, so to speak. So they made it there. The Marines, in their haste, I mean, it sounds comical, had forgotten the radio because these guys are back at the perimeter, jumping the boats, and he forgot his radio. But to make up for that, which was the guy who forgot the radio, Sergeant Raysbrook, he had the semaphore flags, the naval signaling flags at the time. So he was able to get up on the ridge under fire and signal to the destroyer. And destroyer was able to lay 5-inch rounds, like a corridor on the left and right side of that ridge, to allow the Marines to come off the ridge and make it back to the beach. So as you can imagine, the Japanese are throwing infiltration fire, and you can really see it in my video, especially the Munro video. And the Marines labeled it as Little Dunkirk. That's what they called it, Little Dunkirk. So I've made 2 videos on that. So they were getting hit pretty hard by the fire. Marines at the beach. The boats are going in. Some of the Coast Guard boats didn't want to go in. Pullers, you better go in. And Munro was telling the guys, "We got to go in. We got to go in. We got to rescue these Marines." So they made it. They went in. They were started to pull the Marines off. Right. Munro was a coxswain of a boat. He was a coxswain in one of the boat, which is, the person that basically guides the boat and controls the boat, like a driver of a boat, so to speak.
Yeah.
there'll be some naval fellow out there going, no, he's not. A Cotswold does this, this, and this. And, who's this guy? You don't know what he's talking about. Now, I admit that. I'm a former Marine. I'm cargo. I'm not a boat driver. But anyway, he's in there. And at one stage, one of the landing craft got hung up on a sandbar.
Yeah.
They were taking fire. And the Cotswold, he gave up his job. He goes, we need to provide cover and fire. So what he did, he jumped on a Lewis gun, which is they had Lewis guns mounted in the front of the boats.
Mm-hmm.
So he told a new Cotswold and another crewman, he goes, put my boat between this stranded landing craft and the Japanese. I'll provide cover and fire. So he maneuvered his boat between there. And if you see on my video, it was only 150 yards, 200 at the most, away from the coast or the Point Cruz where the enfilading fire was coming in. The Japanese enfilading fire from left and right, and they were hitting them with heavy machine guns. So, Marines are getting hit, his own guys are getting hit, the boats are getting hit, but he still maintained under heavy machine gun fire. He maintained a steady cover and fire. And that allowed the Navy guys and the Coast Guard guys to hook up a cable to pull that other landing craft off that sandbar and allowed the rest of the Marines to be evacuated. And it was almost as soon as that landing craft was free, I forgot his friend's name. It's in a good interview with him. He retells the story a number of times in a number of accounts, but he's in the same boat with Munro. And he says he could see the bullets, Japanese bullets, coming across the water. And he's trying to yell out to Munro, but because the boat was so loud, the engine noise and the machine gun noise, Munro couldn't hear him. And he said the bullets come across and stitched Munro across the face and head, and he's fell down to the bottom of the boat. And he said, I thought he was dead. And then they pulled out, and then it went to Munro's aid, and apparently he's come to, gain consciousness. And he said words to the effect, did we get him out? Did we get it out?
Yeah.
Did we get him out? And he goes, yeah, we did. And apparently he died shortly after that. So he received his Medal of Honor. He was nominated by the battalion commander, Chesty Puller, for the Medal of Honor. And to this day, he's the only U.S. Coast Guardsman to earn a Medal of Honor. And when I was at Guadalcanal, and they're going to have one very shortly because it's the 80th anniversary of it. I wish I was over there now. The U.S. Coast Guard holds a ceremony. Sometimes they're not there every year, but I've been there a couple of times when U.S. Coast Guards have arrived in a Coast Guard ship. In fact, when I was there last time, it was the Coast Guard ship Munro. It's one of the best ships, not ship actually. I think they've named a number of their ships Munro. This was the latest in the class, or latest ship to be named Munro. But it arrived and they had a nice ceremony at that location. So there's a monument to him at the Honiari or Point Cruz Yacht Club. If you go there to this day, you'll see a monument to him. It didn't happen directly in front of the yacht club. They keep the monument there for security because it can be secured at the yacht club. And it's a place where people can go. But if you go to the yacht club, you look out to your left, directly behind one of the tourist hotels. That's where it actually occurred. The action occurred. So yeah, and he's probably the most famous. Well, he is probably the most famous Coast Guardman. If you ask any Coast Guard, they learn about him in their basic training, their boot camp. Very, very famous guy, Munro. So that was that was the only battle on Guadalcanal campaign that the U.S. basically, or especially the Marines, lost.
I actually was wondering, because the way that this will probably come out, this will be a one piece for my podcast immediately, but I'm gonna try and do, like you said, everything that you've given me, make the visuals and cut it up in the episodes. But if you could just tell my audience, just a bit about your channel and why they should check you out.
Oh yeah, I have a YouTube channel called Guadalcanal Walking the Battlefield. Initially, I started up where I'll basically walk these sites, and I had my 2-year deployment there. I wanted to research and drill down on all the stuff I read about Guadalcanal. One, I wanted to check the facts, and plus I wanted to get on areas which is kind of off the grid that most people don't go to, especially if you do the tours there, the week-long tours. They'll go to the main points. And I've made it for them, and also mainly I made it for the people who would never get a chance to go to Guadalcanal, so they can experience something, and also to capture what Guadalcanal looks like when I was filming from 2018 to 2020. Due to COVID and a few other things, I no longer, and due to work, I'm not at Guadalcanal. I'm hoping to go back maybe later this year and definitely next year, and do some more on the ground filming. Now, in the meantime, I've started interviewing other people about Guadalcanal. I mean, next week I'm doing for the anniversary, the Balisabo Island, which is a naval aspect, because I cover mainly the land, and the three-dimensional Guadalcanal campaign is unreal with the air, land, and sea.
Yeah.
I've got a guest, Jeff Ballard. He's appearing to talk about the naval aspects and on the anniversary of Balisabo Island, which is the worst defeat in U.S. naval history.
Yeah, it was.
We'll be discussing that. Oh yeah, and then I also do, a number of other videos. I've done, the Getchy Patrol. I've done Chesty Puller being wounded. I've just got one upcoming, the U.S. Army role on Guadalcanal. I've got the 164. So I'm focusing, excuse me, I'm focusing on, until I can get back on the ground filming, I'm focusing. So, but my videos I cover, it's like I'm giving you a tour when I'm walking there. Mm-hmm. It's like me and you, I'm giving you a one-on-one tour. My videos don't have a lot of whistles and bells, so to speak, to it. I call it pure history. One of my viewers said this is pure history with no frills. I'm like, yeah, okay. Because when I filmed it on an iPhone 7.
Yeah.
I edited it on an iPhone 7, and I uploaded it on Solomon Island internet. So it was just, it's a miracle even it got put up.
Hey, it's fresh from the source.
Oh yeah. I have an adjoining Facebook site. It's called same thing, Guadalcanal Walking a Battlefield on Facebook. And I update that every 2 or 3 days. And I try to include things in there that's never been seen before.
You definitely have.
To Guadalcanal. Yes, fresh material.
You've found new material about Guadalcanal. In all honesty, if people were to ask who are some of the experts on the actions of Guadalcanal, I think you could be argued to be one of them now.
Yeah, I'm one of the supreme geeks, I guess you could say. There's a club of nerds, Guadalcanal nerds. There's a few of us. So yeah, we bounce stuff amongst ourselves. Peter Flavin's in Australia too. He's like one of the best then and now photo guys. I don't know how many trips he's made. Yeah, but yeah, that's my 2 channels. Yeah, hopefully I'll get some fresh tour stuff there.
It's been a real honor to talk to you again. I stress to my audience, please go check out his stuff. You will not find anything like your channel. Your channel is extremely original. It's one of the most interesting channels when it comes to this kind of history on the Pacific War. I can't think of anybody else who's doing anything like you. And what can I say? I hope everyone checks you out.